Greetings YouTube. I had a plan, and owing to circumstances various of, it didn't quite work out. I've only had half the time I normally would have to actually play through the game. I have done, and it took me pretty much the entirety, my entire every waking moment, for 5 days to play through this from level 1 to level 30. So I did see part of the end game. I have played some of it. Now, contrary to what some reviews and review scores online may have you believe, this game does have its good points and it has its bad points, but I'll get onto that in a bit. So what I thought I would do first is go through the good points, and then we'll get to the bad shit. Holy shit, there's some bad stuff. But we'll get onto that later. First, the good points.
We got some Scar heavies. Could use some help. Looks dangerous.
Rust Reaver. Thing's name is Rust Reaver.
I don't care what its name is.
First good point, the combat. It's excellent. It's borderline superb. I know some people may have issues with the slight choppiness, because there is a little bit of that, but I love the feel of it, because I don't know about anyone else, but it always pissed me off the way that Destiny took so long to recharge its powers. It took minutes. Powers in Anthem recharge in seconds. You've got 2 assault powers effectively and 1 support power, plus you can have 2 guns, and these things you can mix and match them however you like. None of this sticking to classes. I mean, you are sort of binded to a class because there are 4 javelin types, but there's a lot more flexibility here in how you set the character up. I always appreciate you being allowed to put your own personal stamp on things.
What are you doing? Be careful.
Arrow thought taking the manifold to a different room would provide us with additional insight. Different room, different energies. He was right. We knew we needed javelin to get out of here, and neither of them had the guts to borrow one.
You mean steel?
Sure, whatever.
The javelins themselves, there are 4 of them. The Ranger is the well-balanced option. Good at offense and defense, but not overpowered at any one particular thing. He's a good all-rounder, good to start with.
A camp, you see?
Yes. That's gonna be a fight.
Look at them all. I don't like this.
I don't either.
A turret. And look at their numbers.
Yes, I'm getting acquainted with both.
Then you've got the Colossus, mightily powerful, can literally stand in front of enemies and take the hits. He's basically a tank, especially with that shield of his. He reminded me a lot of Reinhardt. All of his weaponry is massive.
Explosives ready. Stand clear for detonation. Shields down, but I think the explosion destabilized the foundry. The energy in here is all over the place. That's a post-talent problem. We should secure the area before moving on.
Then you've got the Interceptor. Quick, nimble, agile. Can dodge 3 times in a row on the ground or in the air. Can get in, drop a bomb, get out before the enemy can react. And can also melee combo. Very much reminded me of a ninja.
Reloader, you'll need to silence the relic.
And then you've got the Storm Javelin, which, well, he can hover, not indefinitely, but for a hell of a long time in the air. And while he's hovering, his shield is reinforced, allowing him to rain down fire, ice and lightning on hapless enemies below, as well as bullets, but where's the fun in that?
Take that mean-looking one down, quickly!
You got it.
Good work taking that thing down.
Another thing the game does right, the customization. You remember again, sorry to keep bringing it up, but Destiny 2, those one-use only shaders. This game doesn't do that. Why should it? No other bloody game does. If you want to alter even the material, you can alter whether it's cloth or leather or painted or bare metal. You can't recolor bare metal, but you can recolor everything else. And there's like 6 different places on your javelin where the paint and different decoration can be applied. I like being able to, again, put my own personal stamp on it, make it look like that javelin is mine. Customization and combat, that seems to be what the game is designed to do best, because everything else is either mediocre or it sucks.
Yes, very well done.
the scars are actually insects, but they're not single insects. They're thousands of insects acting together. They just happen to look humanoid. It's because they mimic the look of the life forms around them. And I thought to myself, that's a cool idea. Because maybe if you kill a low-level scar, maybe a tiny cluster of insects comes out and drifts round. And then maybe if you get enough of the clusters drifting round, maybe they form back together and form another enemy. Or maybe you get fully formed low-level enemies. If you get enough of them, some of them band together and form a bigger enemy. Because, you know, the insects can separate and come back together. I thought that's a cool idea. Except they don't do that. They had a cool idea. And they did nothing with it. It really had potential. Why didn't you do anything with that? That's awesome.
Brute force isn't gonna cut it.
Not every problem has to be solved with a hammer. If we restart the power, it should fix itself.
Look for fuel. Scars are almost as much as relics.
Lying around. They could at least organize them.
Yeah, scars don't really do that. Try filling up the pump freelancer.
You can see the game struggling to inject some life into the story and characters. God bless them, the characters try. I can't remember anyone's name.
Yeah, you see what I mean? You picked up on that, right? Little warble? It's warbling, right?
All readings fall within acceptable tolerances.
You gotta look past the numbers for once in your life. Something is off. The connection is a bit fuzzy.
How do you quantify fuzzy?
You don't quantify fuzzy? You don't measure it, you don't count it, it's nothing like that. It's a feeling.
Bad shit now. Holy mother of God, it's a big stinking pile. Let's start with the loading times. Now, I don't know why, but the loading times didn't grate on me as much as I thought they would. But you may as well know right now that the loading times are well over a minute. Minute and a quarter, minute and a half. If the game's having trouble matchmaking you into a match, it can take as long as 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Damn. And then there's the grinding, which is so massive I'm going to split it into 2 parts. Part 1. There is a story mission, yes, you heard that correctly, a story mission, not extra content, where you are required to find a tomb. But in order to find this tomb, you first of all have to find these 4 tombs. Okay. So you find the tombs, you get anywhere remotely near them and the game reveals their position. So you run up to the door and you open it, except it won't open. Because the first thing the game greets you with is this list of challenges that you have to complete to get the door open. Okay. Once you've finally spent the next, in my case, 3 hours grinding to get these 4 tomb doors open, you finally enter the first one. Whichever one of the 4 you pick, you go in the first one, and what do you find?
And the second Guardian has been greeted. Halfway there.
It's basically an empty room. An empty room. I was expecting some sort of challenge gauntlet. Doesn't happen. It's this small square room with a crypt in it. It's nothing. It's nothing. And it's just 4 of those. I grinded for 3 hours to get into a series of 4 small, disappointing what the fuck is this rooms. Is that seriously the best you could come up with? Part 2 of grinding. The reason that upgrading from level 1 to 30 is so painful, I wouldn't mind upgrading slowly. It's not really a problem. I'm fine with it. Because you get tons of loot. You really do. But the reason it's so painful is because while you have 4 javelins and can switch between them at base on the fly, so you don't have to have 4 separate profiles, you just have one profile and you pick which one you want to use. Great, better than Destiny. But you unlock the javelins at level 2, 8, 16 and 26. It took me 5, my brain's fucked. It took me 5 solid full days of grinding to get to level 30. Takes ages to unlock all 4. Oh my god, it's so slow. Even at the lower end of the scale. And the higher up that scale you go, the worse it gets. But if you want to go higher than that, you're going to need masterworks or legendaries. And here's the thing. When you go into the end game, to get an improved chance of getting better stuff, or to get stuff other than masterwork guns, you have to play the Grandmaster difficulty setting. And you only get like 1 or 2 masterwork stuff per run through. Which means that while you're still getting tons of stuff, only 1 or 2 at a time will actually improve your stats. Because they're the ones that are masterwork. They're the higher levels now. It's so slow. Ugh. Did I mention this game was glitchy? This game is glitchy. It's glitchy as hell. Start to finish. Okay, most of the glitches are relatively harmless. They're visual glitches.
Dax provided Strider routes for Talon's crew.
How'd she get her hands on those?
I thought it better not to ask.
Plausible deniability.
Exactly. I've marked a potential ambush site.
But some of them cause the game to disconnect. And that's annoying, especially with this game's loading times. And then we get to the point where I threw my plan for this video out the window. Because as it turns out, not only do some of the game's glitches kick you out, force you to lose the connection, but just this afternoon I've learned that some of the glitches are so bad, and none of them have happened to me, by the way, not yet, but they've happened to some people. Some of the glitches are so bad that it's causing the game to crash. That sometimes happens. But some of them, very small number of people, allegedly, we'll see, their console has behaved as though it's suddenly been unplugged. Their console has suddenly suffered a power failure. I'm not sure the word glitch actually applies to this anymore. I'm not joking. This game has caused some people's consoles to power off. And as anybody who has a computer should know this, if you power a computer off, and that's all a console is, it's a computer, don't kid yourselves. If you power it off without shutting it down properly, it can corrupt or actually outright damage the hard drive. And some people's consoles have been bricked. Bricked. In case you don't know what that term means, it basically means that your console is useless for its intended purpose. It's basically a paperweight, hence brick. Anthem, for a small number of people, again, we'll see how small or how big. It hasn't happened to me, but your console can be bricked. That means that not only is the game committing suicide, it's taking your console and all of your games and all of your game progress with it. You know what, at this point I'd react big, but I don't think I can react big enough. I could be on the rooftop. I could stand on the roof, well, crouch very carefully on the rooftop with a megaphone screaming. I'm not entirely convinced that'll be enough. I was debating with myself before today, before this afternoon I was debating with myself whether to give the game a 6 or a 7. Because I had fun with it. I love the combat. And that's how I was going to finish the video. I was going to say, I like the game, I love the combat, don't buy it. Because at 53 quid, and yeah, don't think I haven't noticed the price point of these games creeping up a little bit. It used to be 50 quid for full price games, now it's 53. But I was going to finish this video by saying, don't buy it because of the price point. Because really, this is a free-to-play model. It's Destiny with a better combat system. A way better combat system. But it is still effectively the same game. I was debating with myself whether it be a 6 or a 7. And then I learned about this potential bricking issue. Now I'm going to say, don't buy it ever. I was going to say, wait until it's like 30 quid most. 20 quid if you can. Wait until it's in the bargain bin. You know? But now, no. Don't buy this game ever. I no longer have the disc in the console. I don't want it in there anymore. I love the combat. I like the game. I don't want it in there anymore. Seriously, but I mean, at this particular moment, EA doesn't know what's causing the issue. And I'm presuming that they'll fix it at some point, but I don't care. You know what I mean? It could brick your console. As I say, I was going to give this game like I was debating whether a 6 or a 7. I was kind of settling on the 6 because I thought 7 too generous, but I'm going to do something I've never done before. I'm going to hand out my first 0. Because I know people don't like the game, but not liking it and the game destroying your console is something completely different. It's a 0. Okay? I just... No, don't buy Anthem. And not for the reasons that most of the reviews would cite, but because it might destroy your console. So, yeah, that's Anthem. If it's not worst game of the year this year, purely on that point, I don't know what would be. Damn! I was liking it. I actually liked it. I didn't put it in the console anymore. Bloody hellfire. I don't know why the hard drive damage occurs. I really don't. I'm not a tech expert, but it's a risk I'm not willing to take anymore. I was liking it. I'm just repeating myself now. Okay, I think I'm just about done. As I say, I could scream from the rooftops with the megaphone. It wouldn't make any difference. I'm going to stop talking now because I honestly don't know what to say. Like, dislike, comment, subscribe and share, all that jazz. See you next time. Sorry, I completely forgot to mention there's something else. I was going to do this. Here in the UK, we have something called PEGI, the Pan-European Game Information people. I don't know. But they announced that as of the Christmas just gone, they were going to introduce a new label for the back of the box for the ratings. You know, the age ratings and the warnings like sexual content, violence, drugs, that kind of thing. They were going to introduce a new label called in-app purchases. It's on the bottom. It's not on the bottom, it's sort of near the side, but there it is. There it is. It's right there. Sorry, I suppose that is that a good point for Anthem or is it a bad one? Because the game does have microtransactions, but you can see what you're buying, but that kind of pales into insignificance compared to the bricking issue, doesn't it? But I just thought I'd point that out. In-app purchases. Yes. I mean the label. Not the purchases themselves. Fuck those things, but the label. Yes.